Hey guys, this is Mallory Kong, creator of King Kong Art Production, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a do-it-yourself personalized sweater. So in order to do this, you need a few things. You'll need a pair of scissors. As you can see there, you'll need your design. As you can see there, my design is KKAP. You will need an exacto knife for precise cutting. You'll need an iron. Now as you can see here, I put my iron to no steam. Make sure you take off the steam setting because you don't want that. And to cotton or your highest setting on your iron. You can use any type of iron. Mine's Sunbeam if anyone was curious about that. You will also need a piece of cloth. I'm just using a shirt that I had lying around. I cut it smaller so that way I can use it for my heat transfer. And you'll also need a sweater. So let's just go ahead and get started on this. Okay, so what you want to do first when starting this process is pick the place in which you want to put your design on, and what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and iron that general area. So the reason for this is to first get rid of any wrinkles that may or may not be on your sweater, and you also need to heat the area in which your design will go on because it will help the ink that's on your heat transfer paper, which is what I'm using today to do this project, in order for it to melt onto the fabric much more easily rather than having it cool and going from there. So as you can see, all the wrinkles are coming out, and I'm using a horizontal stroke in order to iron this. Once it's nice and warm, you can go ahead and put your design on, but obviously mine wasn't warm enough. Okay, so keep in mind that when you're printing your design on a heat transfer paper, you will reflect it or have a mirror effect, so that way the ink is facing down on the actual fabric, and when you see it, it will be right side up. So as you can see, my design is KKAP like I showed you earlier. The white side you see there is actually the back of the heat transfer paper. As you can see, it's right side up. The ink itself is on the back of the paper, right side down. So what you want to do is line your design up nice and even. You don't want them to be all crooked because you will be obviously showing these to other people. You'll be rocking your wear once you're done. So the better it looks, the better it is. Keep in mind you will have scissors and exacto knives to cut out these designs. I cut out the middle of the P and A with an exacto knife. Once you're all set, you're going to grab your fabric and then go ahead and firmly put it right on top of your design. Use your hands to press it firmly in place so that way it doesn't move. If you want to double check it, you can. And then just grab your iron and start on it. So notice that I'm going horizontally. So the reason for this is to evenly put heat onto the design. Later on, you'll be going vertical. It doesn't matter which way you start first. Make sure you put a lot of pressure when you're doing this. That way the heat can transfer over the design and melt it onto the actual sweater. Keep in mind that the heat transfer paper that you use does come with instructions. Again, horizontal then vertical. So this time I'll go vertical. And then notice that I am moving along the sides while going vertically. It's because just to make sure you put enough heat on each side of the design itself. That was my second time around. The total amount of time I used was about 4 minutes because I went over it twice. Make sure to read the instructions that come with it if you want to know exactly how long you should be doing it for. And that's me. I'll need to block you for a few seconds. Okay, so after 2 rounds of heating with the iron, the heat transfer paper is coming right off, as you can see. And there's the first K. When you're doing this, be very gentle. Take your time. You don't want to rip off any of the ink. As you can see, it just comes right off as long as you put enough heat on it. I'm going to use an exacto knife to just pick off the leftover heat transfer paper, the white area. Be careful not to cut your sweater or yourself. Now let's move on to the P. Sorry if you can't see that, but put right off. So there we go, KKAP. Now let's move on to the next design, the second part of my design. So as you can see, you pick the area you want. Make sure to iron it first. I pre-prepped it. And now here's the design. It's my logo for King Kong Art Production, KKAP. And this is the icon. It's King Kong. You see there's a face, there's a crown, and there's one more piece. This is the top of the head. So just carefully put your design on the sweater. You can use an exacto knife to help you place things if your fingers are too big for small pieces like the top of the head itself. And then once you get it right in the position you want, then you'll just start the process all over again, same as the letters. A little fine tuning, put the cloth right over. Again, you can use any type of cloth. Make sure it's just thin enough so that way the heat from the iron gets onto the actual heat transfer paper. You can get heat transfer paper from Walmart, Target, Staples, and so forth. And let's just get back into it. Again, no steam. This time going vertical, two-handed. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on this one because I don't want to do it twice. And then we go horizontal. Since the design is more important to me than the letter ones, I went around twice, as you can see. The total amount of time was about 4 to 5 minutes, divided in half for each side. Okay, so after the 4 to 5 minutes, just go ahead and start peeling. Again, exacto knife does come in handy. Be careful not to cut yourself or harm the sweater itself. Make sure you want to peel it nice and slow and evenly, because if you pull on one side and not the other, it could just tear right off and ruin the design. As you can see there, I'm using the other finger to lift off the other side. Notice how there's no black on the white paper anymore. The heat transfer came off successfully. And then keep in mind you can use the exacto knife to cut out details in the design. I cut out the middle part, the hair, the facial hair, with the exacto knife. Let's go for the crown now. So when it comes to sharp edges, you want to be really careful. Notice that I'm using 2 hands in this process. So not going to be enough with just 1 hand. So the exacto knife is for lifting off the paper, the heat transfer, and then I'll use my hands to peel it right off. Just 1 second, and there you go, it peels right off. So as you can see, there's a little spot right there. That spot is ink that was scratched off when I was cutting my design out. So you need to be really careful when you print out your heat transfer paper. Your scissors or any of your tools or your fingernail could scratch off the ink because it's meant to come right off. So be careful about that. And last piece. So there you have it. There's the final design. So I'm going to show you what it looks like once you're all finished. Again, this is King Kong Art Production, KKAP, by me, Mallory Kong. If you like what you see, go ahead and like the video. Thank you very much. And then I plan on doing more of these do-it-yourself videos later on in the future. And then I plan on putting a tag right here, just to make it look more like an actual product if you plan on doing something like that. And then here's how it would look if you do it just right. There you have it, tags and all. Thank you for watching.